Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Okay. The GOP seems to be panicking a little bit. The announcement of Kamala Harris, the announcement of Joe Biden withdrawing his candidacy, and the swiftness by which Kamala Harris has gathered delegates and prominent Democrats have fallen in line to support her, as have a number of individuals who the media would have suggested would have been purported opponents that would have gone for the presidential nomination at the National Convention coming up in August, have fallen in line behind Kamala Harris. Joe Manchin, bless his heart, suggested that he should run and then withdrew that and said he wouldn't be her VP pick. Nobody asked you to. Nobody cares. Go back to go back on your boat and go sail off into the irrelevance that is your career. Nobody cares. Seriously, nobody cares. And that's what you get. But between, I guess there was a little blurb. I didn't read the article about Republicans are told don't attack her on race. You think that'd be a bad idea? Don't attack her gender either. Just saying, that's another bad idea. There's one Republican in Tennessee. Andy Ogles. There's your Mensa candidate for the day. He's filed articles of impeachment against Vice President Harris on the grounds that she hasn't protected the border enough and that she's misrepresented Joe Biden's mental health and she should be hitting him with the 25th Amendment. Yeah, everything with the Republicans is a projection. Remember that. There was a bipartisan border bill generated by the Senate, sent to the House, that got turned down. Mr. Ogles, you probably even voted against it. So, the legislation was there. If you choose not to come forward with legislation, that's on you. Maybe you should resign your position rather than impeaching other people. And as far as 25th Amendment goes, yeah, can we... let's discuss January 7th, 2021, shall we? The last time the 25th Amendment should have been instituted and wasn't. I imagine you were remarkably silent on the 25th Amendment back then, right? Just saying. If you've got some evidence that Joe Biden's not capable of doing the job of the presidency, by all means, bring it forward. But, this is grandstanding. This is just, social media clicks. And it's to make the MAGA base feel better. This is all to make the MAGA base feel better. Because all the news about Kamala Harris, the buzz around her, the fundraising, apparently it was like 888,000 new donations came in from people who haven't donated to the campaign, came in as part of that near $100 million that she raised. Additionally, Vote.org noted that 40,000 people registered to vote in the 48 hours after President Biden announced he was withdrawing from the 2024 election. And that 38,500 of those 40,000 people who registered there are new voters that registered in that period, and of those, 83% were aged between the ages of 18 and 34. So do we have young people registering to vote after Joe Biden suspended his candidacy for the 2024 election? I would assure you that the vast majority of those young voters who are registering to vote are going to vote for the Democrats. And just to give you a perspective, in this article on The Hill, Taylor Swift in September, last September, urged her followers to register. They got 34,000 new voters in a 48 hour period. So in this case, they got 20% more voters in that same type of period. 20%, 10%, somewhere in there. Anyways, so where things are going really well for Trump last week, things are going really well for the Democrats this week. So I want to read on the general vibe with the Democrats and the Republicans with Kamala Harris right now. I want to read quickly on Ogles' impeachment inquiry, if that's going anywhere, and I want to read on young people. So this will be a little bit of longer reading, but it's going to be a hodgepodge of stuff. Okay, entertainment purposes only. Let's take a look. Kamala Harris, what's the energy around you and the Democrats after you are becoming what appears to be the presumptive candidate? Eight of Swords. So the Eight of Swords as a foundation of the reading is usually, this is what you're stuck with. You're a victim. This is being forced on you, that type of thing. But the Eight of Swords energy is also, this person doesn't have to be a victim. They can take the blindfold off. They can cut the bonds loose on this one. And I think this might be kind of the vibe of either, this could go many ways, that, Kamala Harris was Joe Biden's VP. She wasn't going to push him out the door. That's not who she is. And nor should she be that way. It's really disloyal to your partner who picked you to be his vice president. Mind you, that doesn't mean that she didn't feel like her hands were tied, but last week her hands felt tied. Crossed with the Knight of Pentacles. She has a lot to offer. She's been untied. She's been freed from this position, and now she can go forward with her offers. This could also be Democratic supporters who are like, we're stuck with Biden. Now they're not. They came forward with money, and a lot of money. They came forward with voter registrations, a big number of voter registrations, and it's young people that are doing this. So, the keys to this election is going to be young voters, women voters, and minority voters. Those are the keys on this one. And right now, the Democrats, I think, have all three of those parameters pointing favorably in their direction. In the past, we have temperance, integration. Kamala Harris is rumored to be a difficult person to work with. I'm not going to really go with it in that direction. What I'm going to go with it more is she just spent the last 3.5 years learning the ropes of what it is to be in the federal government at the highest offices. Joe Biden was a vice president for 8 years, so he certainly could mentor her. He was a great mentor for her as to how a vice president should act, because he lived it. He knows it. Not to mention all his time as a senator, too. He could see that. But I think it helped, gave her time to get integrated into the administration, buy into the policies, understand how things worked, make the connections she needed to make. Current situation is the Page of Swords. This campaign is now new, but it's also, she's now free of this situation, and she's out to strike her own ground. Although this is a Page of Swords, she hasn't just recently fallen out of a coconut tree. To paraphrase her mom's line, she's a political operative. She's been around for a bit, and she has some experience. But it's also, she's really appealing to the younger generation, and she's making use of TikTok and memes and pop culture songs and stuff like that to advance her exposure and her name recognition amongst younger voters. Yeah, it's all about messaging. We have a lot of messaging that's happening on over the airwaves in ways that Joe Biden would not have successfully managed to do. Again, Kamala Harris is going to be hitting TikTok and messages along those lines, and it's going to catch fire. Also, just a lot of change has happened in a very short time. Literally Sunday is when Joe Biden said, Sunday morning, was suspending his run, and we're now at Wednesday afternoon, and it appears that we have a presumptive Democratic nominee. It's not going to go to the National Convention where there'll be an open floor for the delegates to vote. It looks like that this has already been resolved. Some folks are saying that Biden set this up. He may very well have. The lesson to be learned is the world card. Yeah, I think we're not even through the end of the week, and it looks like she's sewn this all up. She is, the Biden-Harris re-election campaign is now the Kamala Harris for president campaign. She's inherited that whole campaign and the money that's in there, plus raised another $100 million on top of that. She has young people registering to vote in droves, thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of young people voting or getting registered to vote. This has brought an end, or is bringing an end to Joe Biden in that transition from the Piscean era to the age of Aquarius, and she's going to lead us into that age. But in order to lead in that age, somebody has to walk away. And that is actually, if you think about it, one of the most remarkable things in the world. It maybe speaks more about Joe Biden's character than anything else, is that he weighed... I'm sure first off, he's not happy. This is Joe Biden walking away. First off, he's not happy that he's walking away. Don't get me wrong on that one, and I don't think anybody thinks that. The man's I'm sure he has a healthy ego. He's been a politician for decades. He's had a successful presidency. He knows he could do a lot more, especially if he had a favorable Congress. And he knows he could do the job. Yeah, does he gaff on things once in a while? Yeah, sure. He's 81 years old. This things happen. But there started to be a lot of pressure being applied to him, likely driven by donors more than anything else. And he had to sit down and decide, was his ego more important, or was the Democrats winning this election more important? And he did... Sorry, I got something in my eye here. He made a choice that most people would not be able to make. He made a choice to walk away and hand it over and trust that Kamala Harris was the woman for the job and was capable of getting this job done. That's pretty much unheard of. No incumbent president walks away from it, much less one that's got a real shot at winning. There's something along those lines. Hang on for a second. Okay, just trying to get that thing out of my eye. All right, the GOP. Y'all seem to be panicking. What's the energy amongst the powers that be in the GOP with regards to Kamala and their strategy of dealing with her? The Hermit card, they're looking for a way to do it. They know they need to come up with something effective, and they have to do it quickly because the momentum that was all in Trump's corner from the July 13th incident on has shifted. And it's an all-new game. Just like we have the world card up here, it's an all-new game, all-new opponent. Their whole... all their decisions have been made with the assumption, and again, a reasonable assumption, that Joe Biden would be the presumptive candidate that they're running against in the 2024 election. And that is now changed. And they got caught. They got caught unawares. We all got caught unawares. But they got caught more unawares because of this. And they are flat-footed. And now they're scrambling, and they don't know what to do. Their normal thing, which would be just be racist and misogynist, that may not play too well. We'll see how successful they are in maintaining that. In the past, got the Queen of Swords. Nikki Haley warned them. She was warning them. I saw a series of video clips of Nikki Haley from like February of this year saying this election was going to come down to Kamala Harris. It was going to be like Nikki. It should be Nikki Haley versus Kamala Harris, and she kept saying the Democrats were going to, the next Democrat, that he said basically the next president's going to be a woman, and if they don't nominate her, then it was going to be Kamala Harris, who was going to be the next president of the United States. Multiple clips. She was on that thread for about a month talking about it, and again, right before the RNC, she said again that the Democrats were going to nominate a dynamic person to do that. So don't nominate Trump. And I was thinking that, she was pulling a double bluff, or she was trying to sneak the nomination. And then she was saying, I'm 100% behind Trump, so I guess she gave up. And then, Trump got at the top of his ear skinned or something like that. And now everybody wants Trump to be the president on that side, which is fine. But they were warned. Nikki Haley had some insight, whether she is an intuitive or worked with an intuitive or just really could see that far down the road. She saw what was coming. How the Republicans are going to do with it. Now they have to, but the problem is they're stuck. They're stuck with Trump. They chose Trump. Trump chose Vance. Likely because he thought the money that be told Trump to pick Vance. I assure you, J.D. Vance was not Trump's number one pick. My readings on the vice presidents had him as, of the four, the least likely one to be picked. But it had that 8 of Swords, just like I had for Kamala Harris, where he got stuck with it. So basically, he was forced to take that. It'd be hilarious if Elon Musk was the one who convinced Donald Trump to take on J.D. Vance, and then, with a promise of money, and then Elon Musk doesn't deliver on that money, as he's now saying. Oh, Elon, you talk out both sides of your mouth. I'm sure. I can't wait for Trump to sue Elon for that money. I can't wait. Oh, overarching energy is the 9 of Coins. This is what their donors wanted. Donald Trump and the Republican Party have done everything that their donors have wanted them to do. And now they're kind of stuck because they've got the donors. The donors are all lined up. The candidates are all lined up. And all of a sudden, something happened that they don't have control over. And again, I was talking about the youth vote being important. The female vote's going to be very important too. And J.D. Vance, I don't think, is going to be wowing a lot of women. Lesson we learned is the Page of Cups. She warned you. You ignored it at your own peril, and you picked the goofy guy that wrote the Hillbilly Elegy. And there's, debate whether he really grew up in that environment. He's just, J.D. Vance twists with whichever way the political winds are blowing to his advantage. So what are you left with? MAGA and QAnon. That's your base. Anti-maskers. That's why they're trying to get RFK out of there, because they want the anti-mask vote. That it blends QAnon and anti-masking. And right now, those people are going to vote for RFK, which is why Trump's trying to get RFK out of the race. But lesson we learned: sometimes life throws you curveballs. And they aren't running on a platform of high intention. Project 2025 is not a platform of high intention. The outcome for them is heartbreak and betrayal. They're just, and it's funny how much they're screaming, the Democrats are cheating, no fair. How dare they choose their candidate, not the one that we wanted them to choose? Okay. Not your business, not your problem. If the voters don't like what the Democrats did, they can reward or punish them, however you want to look at it, by not voting for them. That's how this works. Coming up with all this, we're going to sue them. Oh, that's great. Again, that's just to make the MAGA folks feel better. Because right now, they should feel like they've been played. That was a 4D chess move right there. And I gotta say, 3 days ago, I was not thrilled by that, not even a little bit. I have a real strong sense of fair play, and that did not feel like fair play. But, it looks like, and one of my biggest concerns was, it's like, you can't do this and like, okay, well, now that we got rid of the old guy, what do we do next? I don't know. It looks like there was something of a plan in place because things have fallen together very, very quickly. It suggests that there were phone calls made and conversations had with key players beforehand that led to this. And one of the biggest concerns were some people, I think the Clintons and Barack Obama, amongst others, wanted to see an open national committee where they could debate who the best candidate would be. And it looks like that's not going to pan out. It looks like if Joe Biden made some phone calls and cut some deals, like, I'll step down, but you're gonna fall in line behind Kamala Harris, then that's what happened. And it worked. And now trying to get anybody else in there is essentially a fool's errand. So if the big money behind the Dems thought Joe Biden was too old, plus they wanted somebody else, well, they got the first part, but they didn't get the second part. They can decide what they want to do at that point, but a lot of money's coming. All right, this impeachment action by Andy Ogles. Let's look at the energy around that. This isn't going to go anywhere. I mean, it's not going to go anywhere. It's an opinion, and not much more than that. Andy Ogles. Oh, King of Cups. I think it's one of those things that the Republicans felt they had a better chance of beating Biden. Again, the whole warehouse is full of F Joe Biden and let's go Brandon and all those things are going to go unsold. All those bumper stickers on people's trucks and stuff like that. Yeah, all their messaging, all their grifting was on Joe Biden, how old he is, and you can't do that. I suspect Biden dropping out and Harris going in there not only has caused a lot of money to go in for Harris, but it's probably dropped the amount of contributions going into Trump and RNC. Yeah, that looks like it's going to be part of the problem here. Looking at the Republican strategies, this was their foundation card. That's what's driving this. The Republicans don't know what to do. So they're just going to try and make a bunch of noise and splash and muddy the water and hope that people think that they're actually doing something, even though they're not. But this whole articles of impeachment against Kamala Harris, this is just part of the overall GOP strategy of somebody do something somehow, somewhere. We don't care what it is, just do something. Yeah, because that was the card underneath. Then the other one, they're out in the cold. Fundraising is going to dry up. They're now on the wrong horse. Trump is now the problem candidate. He's not the solution candidate. He's the problem candidate, and they're stuck with him. They made their choices. Interesting. Three of Wands. Okay, we're asking about Andy Ogles. Let's not get too far away from there. No, Andy Ogles is going to say, oh, you botched up the border and, Biden's health and stuff like that. They're looking for some type of escape route. They're looking for something somewhere. But what part I was saying was interesting was it makes me wonder, I'll have to throw on that one on another reading. Will they want to replace Trump with somebody else? And the longer they delay on that, the harder it's going to be to do. Overarching energy is the Ten of Coins. Again, they got they got their money from their big donors because they made the choices they made. But you've also got Trump and his genetics and his family values, his family history here. Trump's health is not great. Oh dear God, yeah, and the Democrats have a young candidate. This was going to be Joe Biden. This person is now Trump. Kamala Harris is over here. The young people are right there. Why did Andy Biggs do this? He's trying to do some messaging for it. He's trying to, just trying to get some recognition, maybe get some donor money and stuff along those lines. But there's just not, there's no clear path forward on this. This is just screaming at the moon for the sheer sake of screaming at the moon. It's craziness. There's just nothing there. But that doesn't mean they're going to stop. It just means that they're going to keep going on with this. Again, Trump is part of the problem here. They probably want to replace him. His health isn't going to be great, and he's losing his mind. But you're stuck with him going forward. So what do? You go after Kamala Harris. Say she doesn't do her job well. She should have 25th Amendmented this guy. You just wait. They're looking. They're just scanning. They're looking for a savior ship to come in and rescue them, to find out a way to help them attack Kamala Harris. They can't do it. They've got their money. They've cast their bets. The ball is now spinning on the roulette wheel, and they can't take their bets off the table. They're stuck, and they don't see a path forward. But the path is moving forward anyways. So now they're pretty much flying blind. Lastly, a little four-carder here. Young people on Kamala Harris. What do they see in a positive light on Kamala Harris? And we'll call it here. We should probably make it to about the 30-minute mark. We're 27 minutes in. Young people on Kamala Harris. What do they see as a positive trait that they like about her? Maybe it's the whole coconut tree. All right. Here we go. Let's see what we got. High Priestess. Divine feminine knowledge. Wisdom. She connects with them. It's funny, most kids, teenagers, my parents were so embarrassing. They kind of think of her as kind of like she's like the cool mom. Even if now she doesn't have kids, she has stepkids, but they kind of look at her like, she gets it. This woman kind of gets it. I'm not saying that they're voting for her because she's an ex district attorney or attorney general, but they like her sharp intellect. I think especially if you watch her grilling Brett Kavanaugh and William Barr and just holding their feet to the fire, she is a sharp person with strong moral convictions. Knight of Swords center underneath it, and she moves fast. She's not. She doesn't dawdle. They actually see her as making progress on things that she is passionate about. Yeah, and there's that swiftness card again. And the Sun card underneath it. They think she's intelligent and wise. They think she's honest and open. And that she's going to tell the truth. She's a crusader. She moves quickly, moves very quickly, and communicates well. These are great cards for something like that. Yeah, when you think, especially when the alternative is, an 80-year-old versus an 81-year-old versus like a 78, 79-year-old, she comes across as a much more vibrant candidate, and that's what they like about her. Okay? I hope you found this reading insightful, and thank you for supporting my channel. I do appreciate it. I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.